Good morning everybody, let's have a look at some of these coins, Bitcoin and XRP really, and a bit of an overview of if there is going to be an alt season where it's going to take place and what we're looking to do over this weekend. Is there going to be a dump? Is there going to be a continued rally? Is there going to be a rotation from Bitcoin to altcoins, or is it going to end in a dump before these things rise from the ashes? So, but before we do any of that, just to let you know, I do have a Binance code for you. So if you're trading with Binance or if you're not trading with Binance, you can set yourself a new account up using this link, and basically there's a link in the description below. It gives you 20% off all your fees in the form of commission every single trade for life. So you can set up another account if you've already got one. This one is going to save you 20% of all your trading fees for life. So if you're not saving money at the moment, why don't you just go over and save a bit? I've got other links down below if you want to have a look at those, but that one I just thought I'd bring to your attention. It's a very useful one, and like I say, it's lifetime savings. Anyway, so this is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin completely rallying, just broken out of this. This is where it broke out of this triangle, and has completely rallied ever since. Now, when it comes to supports and resistances, there is none. Not anymore, there's not. There's no supports and resistances. We are in a blue sky breakout. So what this means is that we're kind of finding, basically finding new areas each time. You could look at Fibonacci retracement tools. You could look at those sort of things and Fibonacci extensions. But personally, I don't think it's very useful. I think it would be a little bit misleading. I think with this kind of move and this kind of this kind of bullishness, I think the best thing to do is to stagger taking profits, and that's basically what I've been doing. And most of my spot holding profits have really, to be honest with you, been taken. And I'm only really trading this on futures, margin, and things like that. So, I mean, personally, I can't say where the top is. Nobody really knows. But I would say the smart thing to do, you know, and this is just me, and I'm not a financial advisor, but the smart thing to do is to take incremental steps of profit on the way up. When we're doing a blue sky breakout, so we're clearly bullish from this zone here. We are still bullish because we are breaking above and staying above all these major moving averages. We are now getting overextended, but that doesn't mean anything anymore, does it? Because we've been overextended all this time, and now that we're finding new areas, basically brand new, I am kind of thinking that the only way that I could really think about spotting this top is to look at some of these indicators. Now, this one's one of my favourite for spotting tops. It's called a money flow index, and it is a lagging indicator. It can give you a very strong warning signal, but basically it's getting to a point now where it's getting a little bit uncomfortable, but not massive. It's not massive. There's two things I'll show you that are basically, you know, making me, and this is why I've taken a lot of my profit now. I'm only riding about 20% of my entire portfolio now is in Bitcoin. The rest of it is tethered, and some of it I've been picking up some altcoins at these very low prices, should I say. But the money flow index doesn't like to get above this zone, and if it does get above this zone and it gets into this very top zone, it's basically, I would say that's one of the most important ways to say get out. So we're not there yet, but we'll have a look at this historically. So at the moment we are at a 83.2 read. That's okay. When was the last time we were at a 85% read? Was here, where we had a little bit of a dump going on here, and that dump, if we zoom in close enough to that dump, where was it? It probably is only about 10% in all fairness. It was a 13, almost 14% dump. That's okay. When was the last time we had a high read? This was a high read, wasn't it? This is a very high read, and this is the sort of read that I'm saying to be careful with. This is where we want to start getting a bit more worried. So that was a 20% retracement out there. That's okay. This was a reasonably high read, but let's have a look at that retracement there. 12%. But what I really wanted to show you is that when we get into these bigger zones, so look here, this is where it gets to this top where it's above 85%. So what are we at? About 82 at the moment. 85%. That was from there. So let's be fair. Let's measure it from the read itself. That's from the peak all the way down, essentially to we could ride it all the way down to not this bit here, but down to this bottom, and that was a 46% read. Or the first time we got a read was here, and that was actually very good because it pretty much identified the absolute top on this daily candle. And so even if you were to just trade that one over a month, 34, but if you were to hold on to it, it'd be a 53. So I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but this is one of my my favorite indicators for spotting tops, and it's getting a little bit into the zone for saying there might be a top in. Okay, what I would expect to see is maybe a blow off top area if we don't cool off and go sideways, even if it's just for a few days to a week to allow this to come down. A blow off top area to suggest that we are getting ready now for a decent dump. Anyway, if it did dump, what would that mean? It would mean very likely that altcoins, XRP especially, will dump, and with that the altcoin dominance chart will rise. Now this is the altcoin dominance chart, and what we're looking at here is this is the zone now that everybody I suppose is really holding on to, because our previous channel, which we've been riding this channel now for best part of 2 years, going through the rotation to Bitcoin to altcoins, and we've been enjoying that. But now what's happened, and again I did say, I'm not to blow my own trumpet, but I did say that these and sort of descending channel formations do often end up resolving to a breakout, and that's basically what's happened here. We also had several other indicators to say that the chances are it will break out. So it's broken out now, but there will be areas of resistance, and the resistance now is in this purple box territory. So we've already into the first little step of it, 71.2, and the very top of that, which is the more relevant area, I would say, is about 73% dominant. We were rejected from 73% here. We were rejected from it also here, and so I would say that if we don't get rejected around those levels and we break out, then in all fairness, it's another not blue sky breakout, but areas of Bitcoin that I haven't seen since I first entered the space in 2016, where pretty much Bitcoin was the be all and end all, and all alts were in their infancy and worth next to nothing. So I mean, there's so many alts out there at the moment. I think this is part of the problem. There's so many altcoins out there that are basically taking a piece of that market cap, and by doing that, I suppose it weakens the entire situation, because none of them really get that ability to rally with any decent kind of strength. We used to have Chainlink. It's not very strong. We used to have XRP. XRP is under heavy scrutiny at the moment, and Ethereum is pretty much the only altcoin, generally speaking, and Litecoin, that are showing any relative strength at the moment, and those two on their own is not enough to help this dominance chart out. And the only way that this is going to happen is for a genuine rotation, for people taking profits from Bitcoin and entering them into extremely undervalued altcoins, which is basically, in a way, it's kind of what I'm doing now. We might say it's a little bit early, but you've got to get in somewhere, haven't you? And personally, the way I see a lot of these altcoin charts is that we're good to go in January. They look good for January. The exclusion to that rule, though, is XRP, where I would say that let's look at this on its own terms. Okay, so if you zoom out, what we see is a consolidation pattern after a giant parabolic top. So boink, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then into accumulation. This is what I've been saying for a little while now, I suppose, since this. I was talking about it here because I thought the accumulation was going to take place here, but then the March crash took place, and unfortunately accumulation was well, I mean, you could accumulate down here, but it wasn't confirmed. But it was here, so this was technically the accumulation phase around this level, which is great, because that gives us an opportunity now to see realistically, what a decent price XRP is. The only problem is anybody else going to buy this stuff because of what's going on in Anyway, regardless of that, we're just going to look at it at the chart. We're not going to think about the fundamentals. We're not going to think about these technical details when it comes to lawsuits and whatever. We're just going to look at this chart, because the chart should hopefully tell us, like a crystal ball. It'll tell us the outcome of the lawsuit. It'll tell us everything we need to know, like a horoscope or something. So into the accumulation we went, and then we started stair steps up. Now this one this one here, I mean, I did say on my channel that we were going to have a move and that there was a move confirmed with XRP, but again, I said we're not likely to see it till January. Luckily, well, you know, I made that video and about 2 or 3 days later it rallied. Now that was, I mean, it was in many ways pure fluke. I saw the signal. The signal's on a weekly on a weekly chart. That weekly chart is extremely lagging, and it shouldn't have played out that fast. I mean, technically it could. I mean, that was a buy signal, but at the same time, you know, that was a weekly buy signal. It was saying buy here, hold for a long period of time, and you should be good to go. It wasn't one of those signals which is like buy now, go 100x leverage, see you on Thursday, and with your Lamborghini. That's not really what it was about. So we got in and it rallied, but in my mind, still at this point now, that weekly signal, you know, I believe is still relevant. Let's have a look, and if that is the case, then I would say we're still good to go, provided we're above a certain area. So yeah, I mean, the weekly signal cross took place here. This is the Ichimoku cloud. We've got this blue and this red. These haven't crossed negative, although they quite possibly could, considering what's happened here. But when we're looking at the way that the chart is formed, we came all the way crashing down to the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. You know, I mean, that was a dramatic crash. What, 21 cent, 21.2 cent, dramatic crash. Now, what we're looking to do now is to try and hold above some of these areas on a weekly. So the first area to hold above would be 30 cent. Second, really a bit more relevant, would be 33 cent. 33 cent to me is the most relevant for a continuation of the move up. So we got 33 cent there on the weekly. That was the center of that was the 20 weekly moving average that you saw there. That was 33. We've also got the 200 exponential moving average here, which is also at the top of this blue box zone, which used to be resistance and is now, I suppose, support and resistance. We're floating around in the middle of it, not knowing which way we want to go. So for me to tell you that this is going to move up or down is very difficult. What I would say is that at this very moment, that the odds are definitely against us with XRP, because we are below the 200 exponential moving average. We're also below the 20 weekly moving average, and we are pretty much falling lower and lower on a daily basis when it comes to the daily candles here. And if we break down below 28.2 and close below there and open below there, then I think a full retrace back down to technically down to these accumulation zones down here, and we're talking about between 17 and about 20 cent, is definitely possible. Now, I appreciate, on the side, as a side note to all of this, I appreciate that there's a lot of fear going on with this. I appreciate that that exchanges are now not delisting, but they're halting, trading it in America only. Okay, not over here. You can buy as much as you like in the UK. So there's a lot of uncertainty here, but realistically, there's nothing fundamentally that has changed with XRP. There's nothing that's changed. In fact, I'd probably say that on a fundamental basis, they are actually going from strength to strength. So I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but something does feel a little bit weird about this whole thing. All right, this whole thing feels a bit weird. If SEC wanted to get involved with XRP for something it did years ago, why didn't it? There's like I say, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but when something just doesn't feel right. So for me personally, I'm going to watch how this goes over the next few weeks, and I appreciate that in 2 weeks' time there's going to be a whole area of America that's going to be shut off from XRP unless you use VPNs and things like that, and then we'll see where the price goes from there. But I would probably consider all of that to be a January sale for XRP, and these prices that people would have dreamt about when we were moving all the way up here, well, they've come back to fruition. You have your opportunity again, don't you? Now, this obviously is dangerous. Anything could happen in a situation like this, but I don't think a company like XRP or Ripple are going to fail. I don't think they're going to sit down and have their bum slapped when they're essentially, they wield an enormous amount of power. Whether or not you like them or hate them, I'm completely impartial to what it is, but what I can say is that I've done deep analysis on this chart before on a weekly and on a monthly. There is a cycle to it, and the cycle still remains intact to me, that says don't expect much from XRP until mid to late 2021. And so knowing that, and this is what I've said all along, and those on my channel will know this and can back me up on it, knowing that means that this is just one opportunity that probably you will never get that opportunity again. When XRP rallies, and it will rally, what we've seen here just recently, in my mind, is just a little taster of what is likely to come. I'm not a moon boy, I'm not crazy moon boy, but I do believe in the cycle, and I've seen it play out before. I've researched it, how it played out prior to that last cycle playing out before. We're getting towards the last 12 months of this cycle, and what that would generally say is the last 6 months to, I suppose, 6 weeks. That's when the fireworks start. Now we will have stair steps up, it would appear we've already got those, but these little pumps and dumps here is all part of XRP's, that's all part of its narrative, that's how it works. In fact, the last market cycle, it played out almost exactly like this. And actually on my market cycle video, I did say that there was likely to be a fake out, bringing us up to perhaps maybe 86 cents. So, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, but what I do have is a set of skills that helps me analyze these charts. And so I did kind of say that we would be looking for a fake out before the real rally. All that said, this is a little bit early, and there are other reasons for this to have taken place. But you know, if I was to just go into the future and have a look at this chart right now, I'd say that's kind of what I expected, and it doesn't concern me a great deal at all, because between January to May we might be looking for some decent moves, but most importantly from May onwards is where the real fireworks begin. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice weekend. Take it easy.